Hello, everyone, and welcome to this first webinar in our Sharing Data Made Easy series. We are thrilled to be hosting this webinar with our partners at Foundant and with one of our e-reporters, the Jay and Linda Grunin Foundation. And we're really happy that so many of you decided to join us today. So my name is Laia Greeno, and I'm Director of Data Discovery at the Foundation Center. And in that capacity, I oversee our e-reporting program, which I'll be telling you more about in just a moment. For those who aren't familiar with Foundation Center, we're a nonprofit organization that since the 1950s has been making data about philanthropy available for use by the social sector and others. And while historically we focused on US philanthropy, we're increasingly gathering information about philanthropy around the world. So joining me in today's webinar is Kelly Fliller, Director of Communications at the Jay and Linda Grunin Foundation, and Andy Kesenich, Client Success Manager at Foundant, and my go-to contact for anything having to do with e-reporting at Foundant. So just to give you a sense of our agenda for this morning in my case, or this afternoon in the case of many of you joining, I'm going to start with a quick overview about e-reporting, which I hope it's helpful to the roughly 75% of registrants who said that they either didn't know if they were sharing data with Foundation Center already or confirmed that they weren't yet. And for those 25% of you who are e-reporters, I welcome you to pose any questions in the question box with specific things you might want to have answered in today's webinar. So I'll be followed by Kelly, who will explain why the Grunin Foundation became an e-reporter, the benefits they see, and a bit about the approach they take to e-reporting. And then finally, Andy will do a quick demo of how e-reporting works in Foundant. We're going to try to keep our remarks short so we have as much time as possible for Q&A, but please feel free to submit questions throughout. And I will note now that we'll make a recording of this webinar and the slides available to you. So what is e-reporting? So basically, e-reporting is just a way for you to share your grants data with the Foundation Center directly, typically by sending us a spreadsheet with your grants data. And this program exists for two reasons. One, to improve the timeliness of the data that we have about Foundation's grant making, and two, to improve the quality of the data that we have. So in terms of timeliness, most of the data that Foundation Center has comes from the 990, but as you all are probably well aware, this data can be quite old. By the time you file your 990 and the IRS gets around to processing it and making it available, more than a year might have gone by, which means that the sector is relying on outdated information for its decision making. And then in terms of quality, the 990 is also more of a compliance document than a communications tool, so the level of detail that's provided there usually isn't very good. So for example, while we might know that a grant was made for health, it would be much more helpful for other funders or others looking at this data to know that it was specifically meant to improve tuberculosis control in China, for example. In terms of the how, I won't say too much about this because again, Andy's going to be doing a demo at the end, but basically you just need to export your grants data for the period in question, review it to make sure you're happy with how it's looking and how you'd like it to appear, and then you submit it to egrants@foundationcenter.org, which by the way is also where you can reach us and contact us at any time with questions. And then you can submit your data with whatever frequency you'd like, either on a quarterly basis or at least annually is what we'd recommend. In terms of what information you're actually sharing with us through e-reporting, there's 8 required fields, and half of these have to do with the recipient, so their name and location. Another 3 have to do with the timing and the amount of funding provided. And the last is simply a grant description. And in a second, I'll explain why a good grant description is so important. So these are the only fields that you have to submit to participate in the eReporting program, but you do have the option of providing additional information. And for those who want to exert a little bit more control over how your data appears in our products, these fields are good to know about. So I've grouped these additional fields into 3 main categories. The first are fields that assist us with identification, basically help us ensure that we're talking about the right grant, which is the transaction ID here, or like the grant number in your system, and also the right recipient, just given the differences in how funders might capture a recipient's name. So having like the exact address or their EIN can be very helpful for us to do the matching. You can also share additional grant details from the grant title, program area, and the start and end dates. And then I noticed that quite a few community foundations had signed up for the webinar. So other fields that we recommend sharing are the fund name and the fund type or subtype. So this could be donor advised fund or giving circle, for example. And then finally, there's some fields that assist us with coding your grant properly. So when we receive your information, we code it according to our taxonomy, which covers these 5 facets: subject, geo area served, the population served, support strategies, and the transaction type. Now, I should mention that you can, if you have your own taxonomy for these terms or for these facets, you can share that coding, but you can also use our taxonomy, and I'll provide a link to that at the end. If this type of information isn't provided, basically we try to extract this coding from the data that you have submitted, such as the grant description or what we might already know about the recipient that you're providing funding to. And here's an example of how your grant information appears in our products. And in this case, this is the grant details as they appear in our product called Foundation Maps. So you can see how the additional details provided, like program area and the grant description, helps us extract information on the subject and population served. So all that said, why become an e-reporter? And Kelly's also going to be touching on this, so I'll just keep this brief. But there's 4 main reasons to consider e-reporting. First, you know your grant making best. So by e-reporting, you're helping us tell the story of your grant making in the most accurate and best way possible, so we don't have to interpret or extrapolate things from your 990. You control how your information appears. Second, like I mentioned before, you're really helping ensure that the field has the best data possible on which to base its decisions, whether that's in terms of finding other funders to collaborate with or making decisions about where or what to fund. And then a third benefit is that you get a free communications tool in the form of an interactive eReporter map. And that eReporter map displays the grant data that you've shared with us. And these screenshots to the right show the sample map displaying grants by the recipient location on the top, and then the geo area served below. And there's additional views as well, but just this gives you a sense of what that map looks like. And finally, you can save yourself time. So as you'll see in the next slide, the data that you share with us makes it to many different knowledge products that are meant to benefit the sector. And so hopefully by sharing the data with us, you minimize the information requests you receive. I did want to make sure that people understand what happens with your data once you share it with Foundation Center. So in addition to appearing on your free eReporter map, the data also appears in our 2 main subscription products, which are Foundation Directory Online, which is a fundraising tool for nonprofits, and Foundation Maps, which is meant to help people understand who's doing what where, basically. These 2 products are also freely available to the public at more than 400 Foundation Center partner locations. both in the United States and in several other countries. And then, like I said, your data will also appear in other Foundation Center knowledge products as applicable, such as these foundation landscapes. These landscapes are publicly available as well, and they capture data that we have on any given subject. So in essence, they're different slices of our database packaged to present only the data that is most relevant to a particular community. So Kelly, I am going to turn it over to you now to tell us more about your e-reporting story.
Great, thank you, Leah, and hello, everybody. Our foundation has a bit of a unique story, and we got into Foundant and e-reporting almost by accident. Our foundation was attending a nonprofit seminar, and we saw Foundant and the Foundation Center map being used as examples in a presentation on grant management software. And at the time, we were not formally tracking any detailed information about our giving. We are a proactive grant maker, which means we don't have a typical formal application process or a trail of paperwork. So we knew we needed a better system to keep track of our giving. And while we still weren't planning on having paperwork behind that, we needed something so that we can start entering all of our details. So when we saw how the data was being represented at the seminar, we knew it was a great way for us to tell the story behind our numbers, and we started using Foundant. And e-reporting with Foundant was so easy and customizable to the way that we wanted to show our organization's data. You choose the fields that you want shown on your report, and from there you send your e-report data to Foundation Center, and they add it to the Foundation Center map for you. So Andy has helped me from day one. He set this report up for me, and now it takes me less than a few minutes each time I want to create this report. And when your data is on the Foundation Center map, which was a big thing for us with wanting to do this, you can see the entire picture of your organization. So maybe you want to see the visual representation geographically or by program area. And with the Foundation Center map, you can show the world the story of your organization the way that you want to tell it. And that all starts with the e-report. So the e-reporting program allows you to provide better quality and more timely data, as Leah said, than what is shared on the 990s. It goes beyond the requirement that you have for the 990s, and it goes beyond the numbers. So e-reporting gives you control of how your grants are represented to the public, and the sector as a whole needs better quality information. E-reporting definitely helps with this because you're in control and can choose the fields that you want to put out to the public to tell your story. So grant makers not only consume this data, but they need to be participants in this data cycle, and that's exactly what e-reporting allows you to do. It gives your foundation more control over how your grants are represented to the entire sector. And the sector does need current, detailed, and accurate grant data to understand the landscape, collaborate, be more strategic, make better decisions, and have greater impact. And with e-reporting, you are the source of that data. So it enables each of us to be clear about the intentions of our grants, and sharing the information helps each other. So think about what a 1099 looks like versus the Foundation Center map that Leah had just shown us. One clearly tells a full story and is a communication tool, and one is just straight type data. Next slide, please. So the benefits for us for e-reporting, for our foundation, we originally funded organizations in one town in New Jersey, and that was Toms River. And after a few years, we realized the impact we could make could be expanded into the entire county. And now we're funding organizations and programs across the entire Central Jersey Shore area with a few special projects outside of the state of New Jersey. So e-reporting helped us see where most of our impact was being made at the time and how we could expand upon that in other areas. And again, we're a proactive grant maker, which means we identify organizations to implement projects designed to help our foundation attain various programmatic goals. And our aim is to invest in innovative projects that have measurable impacts and create meaningful, transformative change. We address the root causes of shortcomings in 3 sectors, which are education, healthcare, and the arts. So our approach to grant making means nearly all of the organizations we fund are identified by us and contacted by our staff. So we don't take solicitations, we don't take applications, we go out and find what we're looking for. So we collaborate and plan with the institutions that we identify, and this is a huge step in our grant making process. We don't just throw something at the wall to see if it'll stick. We carefully plan out our process. and using Foundant and eReporting has greatly helped us with this planning. The easily accessible report is a key tool that our board uses in our decision-making process, and every time we have a board meeting, we pull this up on the big screen, and it helps our internal discussion regarding where we want to make our impact and how we want to move forward. And Foundation Center encourages e-reporters to submit at least annually. We started off annually, but now we're reporting quarterly to keep everything up to date and accurate. Next slide, please. So we chose to share our information so others inside and outside of our community can see how we're helping. We hope to encourage others not only to help as well, but to take advantage of the amazing programs available. We collaborate with such incredible organizations, so sharing our information also gets the word out about our partners who are providing these programs. It's a great way to open up discussions with other funders as well, and it's important to share and learn from others in your sector. This is when some of the greatest collaborations have started for us. We also share our information to recruit potential partners. If there's a project in the works that we haven't heard of yet, we want people to reach out to us, and if it fits our funding pillars, then we will continue that discussion. So this is where it's extremely helpful to share our information on the types of organizations that we fund and our focus areas. We've had many situations where potential partners have seen our information online, whether it's our website or social media. They see where we fund, what we fund, our different impact areas, and they reach out to us to set up meetings. And from there, we decide whether or not it will be a good fit for our foundation. And even if it's not a good fit for us, we can introduce them to another organization that could be a great partner for them. So we heavily believe in collaboration. We plan to share our map on the website. We are currently in the process of redoing our entire website, and we should be launching next week. And the Foundation Center map is going to be a huge tool for us, so our visitors can get a visual representation of what we're funding, where we're funding, and how we're growing. So we think it's an important tool to be transparent, and by using the map, our visitors can drill down into our data any way they'd like to see it. It's a very important communication tool, not only for the public to see your data, but for our internal board members who also have access to our e-report and the map. So it's super simple to use, but it creates a powerful tool to help carry out our mission, and it helps our internal conversations about our data so we can zero in and figure out how we can be a better grant maker. That's it for me.
Kelly, thanks so much for sharing that. I think it's important to get at the why of all of this to start. And now I'm going to turn it over to Andy so he can share a bit about the how. So Andy, turning it over to you.
Great, thanks, Leah. Again, everyone, my name is Andy Kesnick. I'm a client success manager at Foundant Technologies. Showing my presentation slides here now, so everyone should see the agenda. I'm just going to kind of quickly go through who Foundant is, why we're a partner for the eReporting program, and show you a demo of how easy it is to e-report in our software. So, Foundant is an online cloud-based software company. We're based in Bozeman, Montana, and, well, thus the mountains here on that first slide. We're not far from Yellowstone National Park here. We offer solutions, expertise for funders and grant seekers who want to free up time to focus on their missions. We're really truly client-driven, continuously evolving with our solutions based on actual feedback from our users of the software. We offer strategic APIs to leverage systems and information from the philanthropic sector. We really have a relentless commitment to customer service and a single focus on the philanthropic community. And so we've established some really great relationships with many partners, as you can see here on the slide. And one of our long-standing partnerships is here with the Foundation Center, and we're so happy to be participating and collaborating with them, as we're big fans of the eGrant reporting tool and everything they're doing to really focus on growing that electronic reporting program. It's great to be in a place over the 10-year history of the company with our software where we can offer some technology solutions to these types of community programs to benefit the sector. So why is Foundant a partner for eReporting? Well, we really believe that eReporting makes it possible to jump into a more strategic, collaborative, hopefully impactful position in your grant making, using both the power of your online grant making site and the data you submit to the Foundation Center. So the program is really about, we believe, understanding where the critical data pieces are missing in the sector and what you can do to get us all kind of working in the 20th century mindset. Imagine logging into your Foundant site and seeing everything that's reasonable to know about a potential grantee. Imagine you had continuous and real-time access to the information across the whole sector about who else is funding an applicant or similar issues. Maybe a clear picture of which organizations are working on similar issues. That information, think about how that would impact your funding decisions and help to identify collaborators. It would be a whole new frontier in due diligence. So we really feel that, as Leah mentioned, most of the sector's data and research out there is 12 to 18 months old and drawn from past documents, not really the best data you can have at your disposal to make the decisions you need to make. So we're making a push for our clients to e-report via their Foundant site because it's so easy and the map is great. We're approaching 200 Foundant clients who are now e-reporting, and we're hoping to double that in the next 3 to 6 months with this campaign. So, most importantly, we feel that the program, we want to be a partner because we feel the program allows clients to specifically share information widely and efficiently without duplicating efforts. You can see here on the slide. You can use the data to proactively think about what your grant data is saying about you as a grant maker, and you can see your grant making and tell your story in that slick interactive mapping tool that I'm going to show you that you get. So I'm going to go into the Jay and Linda Grunin Foundation site to show you how it is, how easy it is to e-report. It looks like I was logged out here. Let me log back in there. So once you're in your site here, let's talk about how you initiate your e-report. It's really as easy as just contacting our support team. Send an email, give them a call at support@foundant.com is all you need to do to let them know that you want us to build your e-report in your Foundant site. We will build it free of charge for you. As Kelly mentioned in her talk, you can create different custom fields in your forms to collect from applicants: geographic area, target population, program area, whatever it is you want to collect. And those questions allow you to choose who answers those questions. Is it applicants? Is it internal administrators? And at what stage in the grant cycle those fields get answered. We don't limit the number of question fields that you can create in your forms and Foundant. And those questions can be changed and worked on at any time in the grant life cycle. Again, the Foundation Center's e-grant reporting standard can really serve as a guide to which of the 50 plus data fields you want to include in your report. So once you've let us know you want us to build your e-report, we'll send you an email and let you know that it's here in your reports and data sources page under your saved reports tab. All right, so you can see this is their actual Foundation Center e-grant report. You're going to want to go in and confirm it looks good by clicking Run Report, and we'll go ahead and click on that. If it's good to go, you can just export it to CSV right here. Oops, I lost my cursor there. There it is. You can export it to CSV right here and email it to Foundation Center. I'll quickly go through the details of that in a minute. If there are some things you want to change, maybe you want to confirm with your client success manager, or you want to confirm with someone on our client services team that the award numbers are accurate, and maybe discuss how often you want to e-report. We're here to make sure that you have the support you need in the e-reporting process. Maybe you don't want to send all of the data that is exported to the CSV Excel spreadsheet. Maybe you've made an award, but you're making some final decisions on it before you want send it to Foundation Center, or maybe there may be some possible tweaking to this data before you send it out. You can make those changes in your spreadsheet. So when I click the export to CSV, it's going to bring up a CSV Excel spreadsheet file here. It looks like this. And you can make any changes to the spreadsheet prior to saving and sending it in terms of the data that's showing here. The Foundation Center wants the CSV file to look exactly like this. Okay, so you don't need to be doing any formatting or creating, new columns or new titles for the report, anything like that. It should really just be exported. If the data needs to be slightly adjusted, you can do that, and then saved to your computer. Save it as if you go to File, Save As. Make sure you're saving it as a Excel workbook file, not a CSV. Okay, it does need to be a file type Excel workbook. Give it a title. Give the document a title with your Foundation Center, your foundation name in it, as well as the dates that you're e-reporting your data on. All right, if it's a fiscal year, put that fiscal year data in. Save it to your computer and email it to egrants@foundationcenter.org. We have a nice tutorial in our software that shows you the steps you need to go through to just run the report, save it, and email it. What's most important is that you CC your client success manager on that, so we know your e-report has gone out, because we want to make sure that in a couple weeks your e-report map has been built and available. And in the subject line of that email, you're going to put the name of your foundation and specify Foundant client, so they know this is an e-report from a Foundant client, so they can contact us with the key for your e-report map. Okay. So let's go back to the site here. If when your e-report is built, it looks good to you and there's no changes you need to make, there's no support we need to help you with, you can just go ahead and save the spreadsheet to your computer and attach it in an email. And again, a couple weeks later, after you've submitted your initial e-report to Foundation Center and identified yourself in that subject line that you're a Foundant client, again, really important, a couple weeks later, we'll be able to turn on that map link for you right in your Foundant site. So when you log in and you come to your reporting tool, when you click on eReport Map, it'll bring you right to your map. All right. So here is the foundation map for the Jay and Linda Grinnan Foundation. Okay. If you look across the top here, the map is specific to their foundation. It's their grants data about their foundation. So it's going to show you in the list view here, really all of your grants data here, and that you can drill further into the details. Okay. It's easy access. You also will receive a link to this interactive map. You can use it as a communication tool and embed it on your website, like the Grinnan Foundation does. You can send out a press release about your new e-reporting participation status, kind of that badge of honor. Your board members can log into your Foundant site if they come online and have access to the e-report map. Just think about how amazing they'll think you are for incorporating the tool into your decision-making process, or informing internal conversations about what data you need to zero in on in order to make your organization a better grant maker. It's a great perk that comes with being an e-reporter. So that's really the Foundant e-reporting solution in the system. Very simple and straightforward. This is the map view here that you come to when you actually click on your e-report map link from your Foundant site. But that list view is really going to allow you to drill into the details of each grant, as Leah showed you early on. If you're not yet an e-reporter, you can still log into your Foundant site, click on e-report map, and there's going to be a few links. Okay, that will tell you you're not yet an e-reporter, but here's some information that'll take you to the Foundation Center's e-reporting website. Here's a quick one-pager on how easy it is to e-report out of Foundant, and here's an example of what a map looks like. So you can access that right now from your Foundant site if you'd like to. That's it on my end, Leah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Andy. So we have started getting some questions. I just want to show one more thing before I pose those. So just wanted to provide links or information on where you can go to find more information. And like I said, we will be sharing this presentation and a recording of the webinar afterwards. But here's information. Here's where you can go to find information about the eReporting program in general, about our taxonomy if you're interested in incorporating that. But like I said, that is not required. We also have instructions on our website for how you can e-report with Foundant, and then a link to our Foundation landscapes where you could see the different landscapes we've created. And as always, like I said, if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact us at egrants@foundationcenter.org or Foundant at their support email address. So I am going to go ahead and start asking some of the questions that have been submitted, and we've got a few. So I'll answer the first one, which is, how do you handle multi-year grants? And I am just going to go back quickly to the additional fields you can provide. So as you can see here, if you have a multi-year grant, you can tell us include a duration column to tell us how long the grant is, and that information will appear in Foundation Maps. Or you can provide grant start and end dates, and we will automatically extract the grant duration from that. I should say that when you are submitting your grants data to us, it's important to tell us whether you are providing information, whether the grant amounts you're providing are paid amounts or authorized amounts, and that also kind of relates to multi-year grants. So Carolyn, hopefully that answered your question. The next question is for you, Andy. So you mentioned that clients can choose who answers the questions, grantee, administrators, etc. Is it possible for different users to answer different questions for the same report?
Yes, it is possible for different users to answer. I'm sorry, different users to answer the same questions that are pulled into the report?
Different users to answer different questions for the same report.
Absolutely it is, yes. So whether a question is applicant facing and they're answering it, or it's internal facing, or it's answered by a reviewer, an administrator or a reviewer of the client, those fields can be pulled into the same eGrant report. They don't have to be all applicant visibility or administrator visibility. I hope that answers the question. I did want to also expand on Carolyn's question. We have clients that some of them don't log their payments in the software. They log it in their outside fund accounting system. So they may not have actual payment data to e-report on. That's fine. We just would provide you support with that when we're building your e-report and let you know, okay, we're going to report on your awarded amounts and like I said, you know, the start and end dates or the duration of the grants. So Foundation Center is aware that these are total awards for a multi-year grant, and they can tell what was awarded in that actual year. If you're logging your payments, then yes, that's that's easy to show a multi-year grant. Maybe you awarded a $75,000 3-year grant, but in year one you only paid out $25,000. If you're logging your payments, we can easily show that in your e-report. Okay.
Thanks for further elaborating on that, Andy. The next question is, are there costs on the Foundation Center side associated with having our data featured on the Foundation Center site? I'll just say that the costs we incur just have to do with our systems, and more than anything else, the staff time in terms of processing your data. There's no cost to you other than the time you spend putting together this data and submitting it to us. Although making that task easier is exactly why we've partnered with partners like Foundant. So for us on the Foundation Center side, this is the routine cost of essentially doing business. The next question is from Andrea and is asking, when embedding the link to the map on your organization's website, can you pick and choose which data is shown? We don't currently list our grant amounts on our website. So the Foundation Center, when you become an eReporter, like we said, you get a link to your eReporter map, which Foundant also makes available through their platform. We do have custom maps available, but if you want to make customizations to your map, like choosing what's displaying or not, then there would be some additional cost to that, but it is possible to customize for those sorts of things. The next question is from Amy, and she's asking a great question about how does Foundation Center prevent duplicate reporting if we use eReporting and Foundation Center uses 990s? So great question. Basically, in our system, we have something called survivorship rules, which dictate which sources of data take precedence over another. And basically, eReported data trumps everything because we believe it's the highest quality data. So if you submit an eGrant file and we already had your 990, once we load your eGrants, the 990 will be suppressed and only the data that you submit via eReporting will be available in our products. The next question, Andy, I think is directed to you. And the question is, do you have to upload or send a new spreadsheet to Foundation Center each time you approve new grants in Foundant?
Great question. So, the key to clean data is regular use. So sending reports, biannually or quarterly, even monthly, helps keep that data up to date, free of inaccuracies. So we do have some clients who report after each grant cycle, or after grants are made throughout the year. And yes, you would then come into your report in your Foundant site, and you would just adjust the date range for your decision dates to show only grants that were made beginning after your last e-reporting period. So the filter will be in there. So when we build your first e-report for you, we'll ask you, do you want to go back? I think Foundation Center takes back about 3 years of data that they'll process in your map for free, and we'll run a report from January 2015 through December 31st, 2017 to show 3 years of data in that first e-report we build for you. So the next time you e-report, you're going to just go in and just change your date filter to January 1st, 2018 through, to date, through that date that you're e-reporting on. But the short answer is yes, you would need to submit an e-report as often as you'd like to keep your data up to date and accurate in your map and out there in the sector.
Exactly. It's just like I said, we are happy to accept your data with whatever frequency you'd like to submit it.
We're happy to help provide support with that too if you need help filtering your report to make sure that you're submitting the most recent data since your last e-report, and yeah, we're here to help with that.
Great. The next question is from Lori, who's asking, I noticed in the example you showed that only New Jersey grants were shown. Is there a cost to have a note like that included for one's data? And And I think, Lori, here you're talking about the Grunin Foundation map that Andy pulled up from the Foundant site. And basically, when we create your eReporter map, we try to take into account where your grant making is actually taking place, so that the map we create, if you're only giving in one state, doesn't default to a view of the entire world. And so we try to customize it to display to the location where you do make your grant making by default, and there isn't a cost to that. That's something we try to do, just to make sure you have the best communications tool possible given your data. Any other questions? I know I got one from Rhonda, a question that Rhonda I think might be better for us to follow up on separately. So I will follow up if you send me the name of your organization to address any issues. But if there aren't any more questions, I will just say that I hope this has encouraged some of you to strongly consider e-reporting. Here are the links and emails where you can go to find more information. We'll also provide some contact information in a follow-up email along with the recording of this webinar. So thank you everyone for joining, and thanks so much to Kelly and Andy. Kelly, just any last thoughts before we log off?
The only thing that I will say is it can seem a little bit overwhelming, confusing, and even scary in the beginning, but this is probably the easiest way we've ever managed our data, and we're very, very happy with the results so far. So we're excited to keep going and to present it to the public on our new website.
Great, thanks, Kelly. That's a perfect note to end on. So thanks for helping us with the outreach for this. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.